All right, everybody, welcome to episode 48 of Talking Taker, our encyclopedic exploration digging up the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time. My name is Alex Dorio. I am one of your co-hosts, one of the creatures of the night, and I am joined, as always, by my tag team partner. And we're talking about tag teams today, so of course that's very relevant. My fellow creature of the night, Travis White. And Travis, we're sitting here, we're talking about Fully Loaded in Your House, July 1998, but as I was watching this, man, I couldn't tell if I was watching this Fully Loaded show or if I was watching CNN coverage, because all I kept hearing about was evidence of collusion during this show, man. I didn't know what was happening.
Classic collusion and cahoots, and that's the word.
Conspiracy theories?
Yeah, a lot of stuff, man. Yeah, pushing the envelope back here in 1998. You're right, it does sound like a CNN or Fox News episode, so yeah. This is our first tag match, right? Full like 2-on-2 tag match we're covering here on Talking Taker?
Yeah, we've covered, of course, the Undertaker's couple romps at Survivor Series, but yeah, this is a full-on tag team match, and for the tag team titles, it's going to be Undertaker's first ever tag team title win, too. Pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. So, speaking of tag team, I have a tag team partner, not to replace you, but I have one called Flonase.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I've added that one to my repertoire, so hopefully I will be less sniffly for those of you fans out there who've had to endure my sniffles for the last several episodes. I do apologize, and I pray that it's over with.
Sorry, you got some PEDs. You're going to be good to go for today.
Yeah, exactly.
Podcast-enhancing drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm straight edge other than that.
Well, we don't know if The Undertaker's on PEDs or not. Hopefully not, but he did come out of his, I don't want to call it retirement, semi-retirement, whatever kind of state he's in. He did perform this past weekend. Before we get into talking about this show from 20 years ago this month, The Undertaker performed at Madison Square Garden this past weekend in a 6-man tag, picking up the victory with Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman against Kevin Owens, and I forgot who else.
It doesn't matter.
The only person he had any interaction with was Kevin Owens. So,
yeah.
Did you see any of that footage online?
Yeah, I did, man. I saw him give the old tombstone KO and put him down with the old Undertaker pin and flip the hair back, and it looked like it was actually his hair, not extensions like WrestleMania. So, guess he's growing it back out, but.
Yeah, he did about 60 seconds of action. He looked good doing it, I thought. Came in there hard. Kevin Owens sold for him real well. Just a lot of people complaining online, saying he just needs to hang it up. People were tweeting at us when I tweeted out the footage, saying he's taking up somebody's spot, which, I mean, look, we talked about this on the WrestleMania episode. We talked about it on the Greatest Royal Rumble when we talked about that, whatever episode that was a few months ago. Undertaker's given so much to this business. He's put so many people over. He's contributed so much. If he wants to come out and do a 6-man tag at a house show, or if he wants to come do a pay-per-view match for 5 minutes, if he wants to do it, and he clearly wants to, then, by God, let him do it. Man, he's having fun out there, and everyone enjoyed it. I guarantee you everyone in the ring had a blast being out there with him. So, more power to him. Man, let him do it as long as he wants to do it.
Yeah, he's earned the right out of anybody else to have this spot. He's not Brock Lesnar yet. He's not coming. He's not like if Steve Austin came back for a match all of a sudden. It's not like that. This dude's still been there the whole time. He may wrestle once a year, but he's still been there the entire time. So he earns it.
He earns it.
I'm saying he continuously earns it. Yeah, he's earned it, and he continuously earns his spot. Yeah. And with the urn.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. That's the pun I was going for.
I know, yeah.
Okay, just make sure. Wanted to do something, Travis, that we've done the past couple episodes where we've covered July pay-per-view. Just so happens that we talked about the state of the business the past 2 times we covered July, when we talked about International Incident and we talked about Canadian Stampede. We talked about where WWF was against WCW. So I thought, let's keep that going as we hit this July 1998 pay-per-view, because I think, again, it tells an interesting story as we look at where we are in the wrestling industry. Because in July 98, man, going back and watching these Raws, and then looking at Nitro at that time too. I think both companies, WWF and WCW, were really at the height of their powers at this time. And it really felt like a war between these two companies at this time. When WCW had been on top for 83 weeks and just dominating the competition, it wasn't really much of a war. And then, after this, for a long time, it's not going to be much of a war anymore after this. But this,
right.
Kind of the middle of 98, when WWF first gets a ratings win after a long, long time, and then they're trading them back and forth. We got King of the Ring 98 with Undertaker and Mankind. We're going to talk about here in a minute Goldberg coming strong and winning the title at the Georgia Dome. WWF's doing all this stuff with DX and the Nation and Stone Cold being on top. I mean, it's just a crazy, crazy time with these two companies against each other. And if you look at the two pay-per-views from July 98, you've got this one, Fully Loaded 98, that we're going to cover, with a tag team match on top with Undertaker and Stone Cold against Mankind and Kane, which is, we'll talk about it. It's a good match, but it's not the most memorable match that we're going to cover or anything like that. It's nothing special, really.
Right.
But then WCW's out here throwing out DDP and Karl Malone against Dennis Rodman and Hulk Hogan in one of their biggest shows, biggest moments of all time. For a moment, it looks like, man, WCW, maybe they've got the momentum here again.
Yeah, it really does, man. Especially, and as you talked about, just 6 days before that was, Goldberg's big win over Hogan, and we'll mention that more specifically in a minute here. But yeah, you're right, man. Like, it's almost like a football game. You watch a good football game. You got if one team just runs away with it, it's not that great, entertaining. One team, well, yeah, it's like that. Like you said, WCW versus WWF, but it's really competitive when they're really at the gridiron, getting back and forth. They're trading matches or they're trading wins back and forth, back and forth. They're trading, the score's going up, their matches score. They're a great football game. That's when people get into a good sports game, whatever it is. Football, cricket, squash, polio, no, not polio, sorry, water polo, lacrosse, whatever. When you get that back and forth, that's the good stuff, man. And so, yeah, you're right here. Everyone is swinging for the fences. It's weird that there's a tag match on the headline of both these pay-per-views.
Yeah.
It's so weird. But, WWF uses their own star power, whereas WCW uses mainstream star power with the mailman, Karl Malone, and old Rodzilla himself, which you had the action figure of.
I did. I had the Dennis Rodman figure that, we went to Walmart together, and I saw it, and I grabbed it off the shelf really quick. It was the last one, and you asked me if you could hold it and look at it, and I wouldn't let you do it because I was afraid you were going to steal it and purchase it, man. I really wanted that Rodman figure.
There's no way I was going to steal that figure.
Oh, you had your eyes on it, man.
No way.
You had lust in your eyes for that Rodman figure, brother.
Exactly. See, the war was so deep, even between best friends. It almost came between us there over a daggum figure. So
that is an excellent point that you just made, though, that WWF is running with their star power on top. You've got four guys that are huge megastars, that are icons, that are still some of the biggest stars in the history of the business right now. And they were able to build on that. Even if at this moment, WCW using mainstream star power may have got the win here this month, the fact that WWF was building towards the future with these guys, that's what's going to seal the deal and carry them to being this global iconic company here still 20 years later. So that's a great point that you bring up, and really the turning point in this water lacrosse matchup that we're watching.
Yeah, not water polio, water polo. Yeah, that's another conversation for another day. But oh man. Anyways, let's I got nothing to recover from that from. But anyway, let's just move on into Raw. This is the build up again to Fully Loaded in your house, and it's basically a fully loaded episode of Monday Night Raw. We'll break it down once we get to it. But yeah, it's just 2 weeks after what's arguably the biggest pay-per-view in WCW's career, depending on if you look at Starrcade 97 or Bash at the Beach 98, whichever one. But again, Raw 266 is the night after Kane won the championship in that first blood match that we covered. We mentioned, last week on Talking Taker. So Vince opens the show. Really cool opening scene here with the the belt inside of a glass case, and he's going to present it to Kane here. But it's weird having Vince McMahon come out in all these episodes with no music, man.
Yeah, we're
you don't realize,
still 6 or 7 months away from him
Yeah.
getting a theme song. So
Yeah.
it's kind of funny to go back and watch that without his iconic theme song.
Yeah, it's so weird, but it's cool because like Kane and Paul Bearer come out, of course, and Bearer says now for the first time, Undertaker is standing in the shadow of his little brother. Which, like, man, what a quick rise to the top for this Kane character. You know, it's been what 7-8 months, since he's debuted. You know, and he's on top here. I mean, other guys that really debut like Kurt Angle or Brock Lesnar, or their actual first time. Kane, Glenn Jacobs has been in the company for a while, but the character of Kane really shot to the top pretty quickly. And that's just really good for him, So
it's one of the fastest rises we've ever seen, and again, just goes to the power of the Undertaker that he was able to spin off this character, and he's been able to come so strong. And Undertaker helped. Undertaker has beaten him both times, but has given him enough of a rub that he is still so over in this role. And of course, credit to Glenn Jacobs too for he's pulling his weight too. If he sucked in his role, he would have been gone after WrestleMania, no doubt about it. But again, Undertaker gave him such a huge rub that he's here as the world champion for 24 hours. Just slightly shorter than Undertaker's first reign.
Yeah, exactly. I never thought about that. They both had the title for just a cup of coffee. Yeah. So that's funny to think about. So, but yeah, this segment, basically Austin crashes the party and says Kane didn't win it. Taker won it for him. And Austin's great here. He's playing mind games. He's goading Kane to a rematch, basically saying that, you don't know if you can beat me fair and square, since Taker won it for you. So Kane agrees to the match, and Vince is so mad in the ring. Vince is the greatest heel, man. He's so awesome.
Yeah, no question.
He's amazing. He's amazing. So, so we're going to get a rematch here tonight. So this is where Kane's title win will come to an end this night of Raw.
Isn't it weird that we're going to see the WWF title change hands on Raw, and then a week later we're going to see the WCW title change again, back and forth, these two companies.
Yeah.
And Eric Bischoff would probably say, no, we weren't paying attention. We had all this planned in advance. We knew we were going to do that. But it's just that's hard for me to believe, man. It's hard for me to believe when it's just such back and forth that they weren't playing into each other and playing off of each other in these days, dude. But anyway, that's a sidetrack. We are going to see The Undertaker. He's going to play a part in this. He's going to cut a promo in the middle of the show after last night where he dominated Mankind in the Hell in a Cell match, but also just totally squashed him, nearly murdered him. But he's going to, he also played a role in the finish of the main event. And Michael Cole is interviewing him, saying that many people here think you owe them an explanation as to why you interfered in the match last night. And Undertaker gives his reasoning, saying, I don't owe anybody anything. There's obviously no love lost between me and Kane, but I was not going to sit back and watch my little brother set himself on fire because he wants to live up to the legend of The Undertaker. So I did what I did. Basically saying that, you've brought it up a lot. There's this family bond, obviously, between Undertaker and Kane, kind of like Thor and Loki. One may be evil and one may be good, but they're still brothers. And
exactly.
Kane had a suicide stipulation in this last match, and Undertaker was not going to let him sit by and kill himself.
Exactly.
So he did what he had to do. Which brings out Vince McMahon because he doesn't buy any of this. He thinks and that's going to be the story this month, is that he thinks there's something deeper going on between Kane and Undertaker. They are colluding with each other. They are trying to manipulate things and come into power. And he has a great quote here.
You are singularly the most vile, contemptible, and evil individual that the devil ever placed on this earth.
Which, not cutting any corners there. Not pulling any punches.
Oh, yeah. That's a pretty vile thing to say to someone. So, and then he comes up next and he says, "Let me warn you that hell hath no fury, what you will find if you interfere in the championship match tonight." And I really thought it was a missed opportunity to say, "Hell hath no pizza, so you don't want to go there."
Right. That's the phrase everyone knows, of course.
Right. Because, as we know from a few weeks ago, Jerry Lawler says, you know what they say? and he repeats that statement. So I really thought, but yeah, in all seriousness, like they're really bringing this evil, devil, demonic stuff. They keep bringing it up these last couple months, and it's going to get even pushed harder. And in my opinion, it's just I don't know if they knew where they're going with the ministry thing or not because it's Russo. So whatever happens this week, we'll figure it out next week. So I mean, who knows? But they're really putting that demonic. He's always had that man from the dark side. But they're really putting that evil. They bring the word evil up a lot in this whole build up and in episodes to come. So a lot of stuff. So
that's going to lead to the main event of Kane and Stone Cold. It's a huge segment. I think at the time it was the highest rated match of all time. I think there briefly. It's going to be broken by the Undertaker here in about a year on television, but. Isn't
it also broken by the Stooges versus the APA?
That's one of the highest ones.
Yeah,
but yeah, technically the highest rated match is Undertaker and Stone Cold for the title about a year later after this. But yeah, the Stooges one is one of the top ones too, which is hilarious.
So weird.
It's a really hot match. It's a really good TV match with Stone Cold and Kane. Undertaker comes out during the match, teasing, interfering, but he just stands and watches as Stone Cold wins it fair and square with a stunner in the ring.
Yeah.
Paul Bearer walks around and gets distracted by Austin. Austin gives Undertaker a stunner in the ring, and JR calls it payback from last night. So Austin walks away while the Brothers of Destruction are just laying in the ring, and then they both sit up simultaneously, sort of stare down Austin, stare down each other, and Austin flips him the bird while the two brothers fight with each other as the show goes off the air. So that's kind of going to be like I said, this is setting up the next month and really the next few months of TV right here. It's going to center around these three guys with Mankind playing a peripheral role and Vince McMahon playing a big role as well in this storyline.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And just seeing them sit up at the same time, well, almost the same time, is just like nowadays we take it for granted. That's what they do as the Brothers of Destruction. I forgot it happened here, man. Like it's just really cool to see that because again, it'll become an iconic thing kind of later on as their tag team and partners and stuff like that. But I just thought it was really neat little foreshadowing to what's to come. Of course, they had no way of knowing that, but anyway.
Of course. Well, man, you had no idea what you were getting in for this next week because. Back in the day, you didn't get to watch this next episode of Raw live. How come?
I didn't.
How come?
Well, yeah, this is Raw 267 on July 6, 98. I did not get to see this. I had to set a VCR. I had some prior obligations, so I had to watch it when I got home or the next day because I was a little bit busy. I was actually in Atlanta this night, and I was one of the 40,000 people with George Dome watching Goldberg beat not only Scott Hall, but beat Hulk Hogan in the main event to win the WCW World Championship, and to a massive ovation. I was one of the like I said, one of the few, the proud, standing there. Actually, the millions watching around the world. Whatever. I was one of them there. I actually fell out of my seat and bumped my leg on my leg on the chair. Excuse me, and had a huge bruise like the size of Canada on my leg. I'll never forget because I was so excited I fell on my chair when he won. So, man, yeah, I was a little busy this night. So, what a memory, man. 20 years ago. It was awesome.
Where were you sitting? You remember anything like that?
Oh, my nose was bleeding. We were so high. I mean, if I watched this episode of Nitro, I could point where we were, but we weren't on the camera side. We weren't going to be on TV, but we were up on the top section, but not all the way up, but the front of the top section. So, but yeah, me and two of our friends from school and yeah, we went. Her dad just kind of got tickets, and we got to go. So,
was that the awesome. First wrestling show you'd ever been to?
Absolutely, it was.
Wow, how about that, man? How about that?
How about it? yeah, man. So, how about it for sure? It was incredible. I'll never forget that day. So,
well, I've always been super jealous of you for being able to go to that, man. That's an iconic moment. Once in a lifetime there, and just Again, it just goes back to what we were talking about here earlier, the war between these two companies and just being at the height of their powers. I mean, Goldberg was every bit as hot as Stone Cold Steve Austin. As far as where we were in the South, in Georgia, man, in WCW country, and as far as I know, worldwide too, Goldberg was right up there, man, with Stone Cold. And, you would see, at least I remember seeing Goldberg merch as much as I saw Stone Cold merch. And, it was crazy, man. I always liked Stone Cold more than Goldberg, but man, there were people who were huge Goldberg loyalists. Man, take Goldberg over Stone Cold any day of the week. So
then that was me, because I was a Georgia Bulldogs fan. I still am, and he was a Georgia Bulldogs, and again, from Georgia and stuff. So I was a Goldberg over Austin guy. Now, I mean, obviously, I saw the light a few years later, but but just nothing really beats that when you're a 12-year-old kid, man. Especially being there. I think being there really took me to a new level for my Goldberg fandom, so it was awesome. But I didn't get to see this episode of Raw. I had to watch it later on when I got back, but I did set a tape for it. I taped Nitro and Raw that night.
Oh, of course. VCRs. Yeah, so, I always did that, man. Two VCRs. Anyway, this Raw we're not talking Goldberg. We're not gabbing about Goldberg. We're talking Taker. So Undertaker kicks off this episode of Raw with pyro going off behind him, and JR and King talking about how Undertaker's not scheduled here for tonight. But Undertaker gets straight to the point and says, Austin, I want a title shot, and I want it right now. So Undertaker demands to get a match with Austin. We cut to the back with, trusted investigative journalist Michael Cole doing some great work backstage, just knocking on doors saying, Stone Cold, Stone Cold.
No one's ever there. But finally, Austin comes out like the last one, just blows past him. Like, he's shoot, like, annoyed by him. Like, he's like, I'm going to the ring and talk about this. I'm not talking to you, so stupid. But I want to mention that, like you said, Undertaker has his new pyro for his, like, entrance. And he just, man, when he comes out here, he comes out with a purpose, man. He's so intense.
He does.
This whole build, these whole 4 weeks, and then getting into this match, this fully loaded match. He's so intense, this whole thing. I really like it. But yeah, man, investigative journalist Michael Cole gets nowhere.
No.
And Austin finally comes out, and Mr. McMahon, excuse me, I like to call him Vince. I don't like to call him Mr. McMahon. Vince comes out, and he interrupts, and he's like, Undertaker, who named you number one contender? Which I agree. Who named?
We've been trying to figure that out for 6 months, man. Who's naming these people number one contender? Vince doesn't know either.
Because Sergeant Slaughter had been doing it, so so Vince tells Austin that he defends the title on Vince's time, not on his own, and says you can get in the ring together the next pay-per-view and you guys can get it on, but it's going to be in a tag match. You're going to fight Kane and Mankind, and later tonight I'll name the number one contender for the WWF title. And then he flips off Steve Austin. So salutes him, they say on commentary. So
and it's just kind of a dud of an announcement, man. Like it's always kind of a bummer to me when, look, and I understand, you can oversaturate things with the title not always being defended, but it's always a tough sell when you're not going to have the championship match on a pay-per-view and try to do it with a tag team match. You got to have pretty big star power, and they do. It's going to be a star-studded match, but it's always a hard sell when you're putting a tag match as a main event of a pay-per-view instead of a world title match. So we'll get into that as we go along here. But Vince makes a great point here in this promo too. He says, talking to Undertaker, demanding this title shot, he says, what is wrong with this picture? The inmates are attempting to run the asylum. And that's going to play a big part in this build-up too, and in the weeks to come, is that the wrestlers are trying to wrestle the power away from Vince McMahon and trying to take over.
Yeah, which leads right into the next thing that happens there on Raw is that D'Lo beats Terry Funk.
D'Lo Brown defeated Terry Funk. Just let's reiterate that. That really happened on Monday Night Raw.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
The former ECW heavyweight champion, Terry Funk.
The hardcore legend.
Yeah. D'Lo beats him, and then Taker comes out and chokeslams the Godfather and D'Lo, and then just Terry Funk again.
Yep.
To give him the sequel from Hell in a Cell. Undertaker chokeslams Funk, but I don't think he keeps his shoes on this time. But
he does, yeah.
But Undertaker gets a mixed reaction when he comes out at this point, which he's been a face since February of '92. So 6.5 years.
Yeah.
Here, so about time he's showing a little tweener tendency here. So yeah, get a mixed reaction, and commentary is telling this really good story about Taker's consumed by evil, and has no more kindness left inside, and he's obsessed with becoming a champion. So kind of what we've seen the last year or two, maybe, or a year before that, I can't remember. But yeah, he's obsessed with becoming the champion now. So that leads us to our Vince McMahon number one contender round table, I guess you call it.
He brings out Mankind, Undertaker, and Kane. He puts them all over, all their credentials and all this stuff, and says that they are going to have a triple threat match in the main event tonight to become the number one contender. Winner of that's going to become number one contender. So that's the big angle going in here. Of course, as you mentioned, it's also the night where DX dressed up as the Nation, and it's, of course, everyone's seen that segment a million times. It has nothing to do with the Undertaker, but it's classic. It's it's a little different, a little bit dated today. The blackface in there maybe doesn't hold up quite as well,
yeah.
But it's still hilarious. It's still an important moment because it's kind of a point where you just didn't see comedy like this in such a huge spot on a show in these days. And that was a big hallmark of the Attitude Era, was comedy becoming a bigger part of it. And we don't see too much of that from The Undertaker, but it does become a much bigger part of the shows as we go forward.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, and it's just, I can't put over Road Dogg enough in that segment. It's just good stuff. I love him. He's awesome. But yeah,
for sure.
So for the main event here on this episode of Raw is Paul Bearer comes out with Vince McMahon before the match, which in hindsight you should look back and be like, oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah,
but he kind of comes
here.
out. Yeah, something's going on. But he comes out, and then Austin and McMahon are on commentary, which I wish they were on commentary every week.
Oh, all the time, man. Vince,
love them.
Stone Cold, JR, and King. That is my new dream commentary team.
It's so good. I love them, man. They're so great. And so Mankind comes out first, and then Kane comes out, and again, it's supposed to be a triple threat. Undertaker is nowhere to be seen. His music plays multiple times. He's nowhere to be seen. And Vince McMahon makes Tony Chimmel announce that.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to the fact that The Undertaker is not here because he is chicken. Oh. Whoa! Wow.
Which I just thought, what?
Yeah.
What?
Wow.
I didn't remember that at all.
Well, I remembered this as soon as Kane, quote unquote, walked out to the ring, and I don't know about you, he I didn't know it back in the day, but going back and watching it now, that was clear. It's clearly not Kane. It walks a little bit different, carries himself a little bit different. Of course, it's going to be revealed that it's actually Undertaker dressed up as Kane, which is a heck of an angle, a heck of a surprise.
Sure.
Going back in hindsight, you can kind of tell it's not actually Kane. Bodies are a little bit different, and he carries himself a little bit differently. And maybe it's just because we've watched so many Undertaker matches lately. It's a lot easier to tell, but it's
could be.
He's covered up in full body suit. He's got the mask on, the hair. It's a great surprise. Well, Vince McMahon also announces that this match is going to be no holds barred and falls count anywhere. Mankind is freaking out. He goes and refuses to get into the ring, and he's still. This is just. I believe this was taped 2 days.
Yeah.
This is 2 days after Hell in a Cell. They taped Raw.
Yeah, that's right.
2 nights in a row back then. So this is just 2 nights after Hell in a Cell. Mick Foley is selling this Hell in a Cell this whole month. And even going into SummerSlam, he still does not look right. His arm is basically just dangling off of his body in all of these matches, man. And it's not, I don't think he's selling it, dude. I think it's just legitimately, his arm is not attached to his shoulder.
Oh, if this were 20 years later, he wouldn't have been on the show for 2 months, he would not be allowed to be on this TV show.
No,
but
nor should he have been.
No, he should not have been in hindsight. But he is. His arm is just dangling. But he says he didn't want to fight. I've given enough. I won't give any more, and I will not, under any circumstances, fight my friend Kane. So, of course, Vince is pushing, Kane to attack him, and I think is this where Kane grabs a chair and just bangs Mankind's head with it. Mankind's kind of sitting against the ring steps, and so Kane blasts the chair again. Kane in quotation marks blasts the chair across him and drags him in the ring and covers him with the Undertaker pin. So should have tipped us off right there. Stone Cold is going crazy because Kane won, and like you said, Kane stands up, tears off the mask, facing the hard cam. Thank you, production values, and it's the Undertaker. So, but Raw just goes off. Boom. I think Stone Cold takes his headphones off, right?
Yeah, he rips his headphones off. And, gets a great pop from the crowd. It's a great angle. It really is.
Yeah.
So Undertaker is going to be the number one contender for the WWF Championship. He's going to be facing Stone Cold for the title, and Stone Cold is going to have to team up with The Undertaker as well.
Yep.
So that's the story here.
I like to spitball here and say that I think that they got this idea from Cyclope and Chris Jericho.
Again,
Dean Malenko.
Yep, they're playing off of each other here.
Oh, just kidding, but I'll never forget that one, actually.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So.
I wouldn't put it past him to steal that.
Yeah.
Next week, we get kind of a surprise when Shawn Michaels returns to start off the show. First time we've seen him since WrestleMania 14, and he's going to do commentary all night.
His little Dutch boy haircut.
He does, yep.
He looks terrible.
He looks terrible, but he does a great job on commentary.
Oh, yeah, he's awesome, man.
He puts over Undertaker huge. Undertaker kicks off the show with a matchup against Vader. Rest in peace to the big man. He faces Undertaker. Gets a lot in on Undertaker, but it's basically a squash match. Undertaker
and
defeats Vader, of course.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed this watching this, but this was almost the last night we ever saw Undertaker, in my opinion, because during his entrance, he goes to raise the lights, raises his arms up and lights, and as he does, one of Kane's ring post pyro goes off in his face. It's just one, so whoever is pushing the button mistimed it, and they blew Kane's pyro in his face. I mean, he moves ever so slightly out of the way, but he doesn't flinch. He doesn't break character. We keep putting him over like, what a freaking professional. But I encourage you guys listening, go back and watch this. This is episode of Raw 268, June 13th. Or July 13th, excuse me. And right at the beginning, it's, again, Undertaker and Vader, but Taker almost loses his face this night. So really strange to look and see. He'll actually catch on fire about 12 years later and not be phased. So we'll get to that on here, too.
So after this, Undertaker defeats Vader.
It's an ugly match too, man. And I think you would mention something I wanted to say about, you mentioned a few weeks ago too, like how Stone Cold and The Rock get all the credit, but Taker is a very pivotal, he's holding these episodes together. His story with Kane is intermingling with the World Championship, storyline, also the Tag Team Championship storyline. It's all Undertaker.
He is. He's all over these shows just as much, if not more so, than Stone Cold a lot of the time. So it's kind of cool to see. They in commentary, they're putting over this collusion story, or they're talking about last week's angle. How did Undertaker get Kane's clothes? HBK has a line. He says, "My brothers used to do to me all the time. Beat me up, steal my clothes." And I'm only child, Travis. Did that happen with you and Paul all the time? He just beat you up and steal your clothes?
No, my brother never beat me up and stole my clothes.
Oh, okay.
He might beat me up when we wrestle, but he never stole my clothes. That's not a thing. No, that's like a locker room thing. It's not a brother thing. It's weird. So, yeah, Sean, whatever. I don't know what he's talking about, but other than that, man, he's a gold star. He gets a gold star from me on commentary.
He was. He puts over Undertaker, says nothing strikes fear into your heart like hearing his music. Really puts him over strong. They're putting this angle over strong. They put over the King of the Ring match. Still, it's 3 weeks on Raw after we've seen that match, and they're still talking about it. HBK is just saying that was the greatest thing I've ever seen. Was Undertaker and Mankind in Hell in a Cell. 3 weeks later, they're still talking about it, and you just don't hear that too much on commentary. No. It's usually on to the next thing. But they are still putting that over. So it's a big deal. And Mankind and Kane are going to go on from this to compete for the tag team titles.
Yeah, because they did. If you guys remember, a few weeks ago, they won a random Royal Rumble for the number one contender for the tag team championship. Oh, I need to mention too, at the end of this Taker and Vader match, Kane or Mankind goes to hit Taker, but with a chair, but Kane takes it and it hits Vader with it. So again, we got more like, Kane saving Undertaker here. Are they in cahoots and stuff? So that'll come into play later on. Because like you said, Mankind and Kane faced the New Age Outlaws. Because again, a month ago they won this random match that's never been mentioned again. But they come out here for it, and DX and the Nation get some interference here, and that leads to Mankind and Kane winning after, I believe, D'Lo, who's defeated Terry Funk, hits a sky high move or whatever it's called, low down on Road Dogg, and Road Dogg gets the pin here. So Mankind and Kane are your new tag team champions.
Which means that their match with Undertaker and Austin is going to be for the tag team titles now, fully loaded for that main event. But it's not over yet. Nope. Triple H and DX are really pissed about this. They end up storming out with this segment with Vince McMahon, telling Vince he needs to do something about what happened here. And this is going to be our first glimpse ever of Triple H trying to boss Vince McMahon around.
Yeah.
Glimpse into the future, man.
Yeah, exactly. This is COO Triple H.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I had no idea. In 98, he was the COO still.
Well, Vince comes out himself, and he calls out Undertaker, brings out Undertaker, and he
calls out the most demonic, twisted soul in the history of the WWF. So
again, yeah, he's pushing Undertaker's buttons.
I know.
He's not afraid of Taker. It seems like
no.
It's really interesting dynamic they've got going on.
Yeah.
So Vince McMahon recaps everything that's been going on with the Undertaker, and he just doesn't buy any of it. He's saying that was quite the stunt you pulled last week. You might have thought you fooled everybody, but I'm not that easy to fool. And he wants an answer from Undertaker, demands an answer from about what's going on with him with Kane. Undertaker tells him, "You can go to hell." Stone Cold comes out. He says, he's saying he doesn't have a problem with Undertaker. He had the decency to challenge him man to man, face to face. But before they can do that, they got to stumble across this roadblock called Mankind and Kane, and he wants to know if he's going to be on the same page, if Undertaker's going to team up with Austin, or if Austin's going to be in a 3-on-1 situation. And Undertaker tells him, "You can go to hell too."
He pulls no punches here either.
Nope.
He's like, "All right, here you go, straight shooting, brother. Just go, go with Vince." So, yeah, I thought that was interesting. And then DX comes out and they demand they kind of interrupt this segment. They come out and they demand a tag title rematch later. And then Triple H, like you said, asserting his authority here, he says, "You know what? Here's how you figure out if they're in cahoots. Why don't you make it 3 referees, 1 in the ring, and Austin and Undertaker are the special refs on the outside." So, which again, man, I think is really cool psychology and really cool storytelling, and it's involving so many people on the roster in one storyline. It's just so cool. Like, I don't know, just I could go on for days about how awesome that is.
Yeah,
compared to something nowadays.
It's those 4 main event guys. You got Vince, you've got all of DX, and you're going to end up having the Nation all in on this too. You've got 10, 12 guys all wrapped up in this. It is beautiful storytelling. It really is.
Yeah.
So the main event of the show is going to be a rematch all ready for the tag titles, Mankind and Kane versus New Age Outlaws with 3 referees, Stone Cold and Undertaker on the outside. Stone Cold's got a cooler full of beers as he's officiating, which, I don't know, that's a little skeptical for officiating. I don't know if you want to be under the influence, but the Athletic Commission might not approve of that.
Yeah, it's true. He does have his white baseball jersey on again, so
he does.
There's no blood. Exactly. That's all that merch, man. So and during this match, I think Billy Gunn accidentally takes out Mike Chioda with a Stinger Splash. He gets a ref bump, and at this point, Road Dogg goes to roll up Kane with a small package, and Austin slides in to count the pinfall. Because, again, he's one of the 3 referees here in this match. Whose idea? Great idea to have 3 referees. So, anyway, as he goes to count 3, Undertaker pulls him out. So, they have a little stare down, and Kane chokeslams Road Dogg. Poor Road Dogg. He's eating the pinfall earlier in the night, and then he's eating this here. Yeah, Kane chokeslams him and pins him, and Taker slides in to count to 3, but Austin pulls him off. So, they face off again, and then Kane attacks Austin. Mankind attacks Undertaker, and they just kind of brawl. It's a Pier 6 brawl. And DX and the Nation come out, and it's just Pier 6 brawl, like JR likes to say, and stunners and choke slams to everyone.
Everywhere, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It is. It's a good ending. It's kind of weird. Doesn't really. I don't know what the storyline we're supposed to be reading into it is, with just Nation and DX getting clobbered by Austin and Taker, but they stand tall here. They're still a powerful force, and I mean, it's just fun at the end of a show to see a bunch of people taking finishers, man. No matter what it means.
Absolutely. It reminds me of like episodes of Lost. Like you get a bunch of questions but no answers. That's kind of what this was, a bunch of questions. Like nothing really was settled here, but like it left you wanting more next week,
I like
and like
that.
you said,
That's a good description.
So you see these guys going at it and just beating everybody up. It's like, well, we didn't really answer anything, but I'm hooked to tune in next week, So
and they set the table for next week. It's the Go Home show for Fully Loaded, July 20th, Raw 269. Vince McMahon comes out again, recaps everything that's been going on. It's great storytelling here. If you, that's the thing, man. If you had never seen this before, you could tune in and be filled in on everything just from watching one episode, man. WWF does a great job of doing that.
Yeah, you could listen to episode 48 of Talking Taker, or you could go back and watch this first 10 minutes of Raw.
All you need, right?
And Vince will recap it all for you here. So we're trying to give our spin on it here, though. But it's great.
His word of the day calendar is clearly giving him the word cahoots on this night, too, because he says it 27 times in this promo.
There's some things you only hear in wrestling, like sick and tired. Nobody says sick and tired except for wrestlers. Right. Nobody says cahoots except for wrestlers. There are other things that Pier 6, nobody says that except for wrestlers. There's a lot of things that no one ever says but wrestlers. But
Vince says, he's going back to that Undertaker being in Kane's outfit, he says,
did the Undertaker decide to go down to the Sears men's store and say, I'll have a Kane suit, please?
So now we know that Vince apparently gets his suits from Sears.
I was going to say, how many suits do you think Vince has from Sears? He's trying to appeal to the working man right there, baby. So he knows his audience. That should have been a Stone Cold line right there.
Right.
Yeah. But I thought that was great, man. Can I get a Kane suit, please? Oh, awesome. So, are they in cahoots? There's a lot of the fans here. I believe this is where the fans are questioning Vince's sexuality from the comments.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, and some risque signs in the audience.
Some close-ups of risque. I mean, they don't not shy away from these signs about what Vince does after hours.
Hi-yo. Yeah, so I think Undertaker comes out here next, and basically Taker comes out, and Vince says he's disappointed, which I thought was just kind of funny to hear him say that. I'm disappointed in you. So he says that Undertaker needs to start showing respect for the proper people, like Vince. He says, are you in cahoots? Again, it's like the 10th time. He gets no answer. And he books Taker versus Kane and Mankind in a handicap match tonight. I'll get my answer. I'm book you against your brother and Mankind. And tells Taker, this time he gets his response and says, you can go to hell. And then, of course, he eats a chokeslam from Undertaker. So, I love how vicious and vile he is to Undertaker, but Undertaker always gets the last laugh.
He doesn't back down, man. He's just He's forming this Mr. McMahon character. He's drunk on power, but he still gets his comeuppance all the time because he's not a wrestler, and the guys feel like they can beat him up and destroy him. I tell you what, though, man, nobody takes a chokeslam like Gerald Briscoe. Dude, that guy gets up off his feet. He takes an amazing chokeslam. He did tonight. Yeah. He took one. He's taking a few in this ride, so I love watching him take a chokeslam. But
man, Briscoe, Patterson, and Slaughter take a chokeslam too. It's awesome. Yeah, you're right. Briscoe should teach chokeslam 101 how to take that. So. He's so good.
The story of the night is that after being booked in this handicap match, Undertaker has apparently left the building and is refusing to compete in it. So Vince is going to make Stone Cold compete against Mankind and Kane instead. That's our main event for the night. And look who comes out in the middle of that match. Well, it's The Undertaker. He returns to the building, steel chair in hand. And again, whose side is he on? Is he in cahoots, in collusion with Kane and Mankind and Paul Bearer? Is he going to team up with Austin and be on his side? Undertaker watch Austin get beat up for a while, and then he gets up into Austin's corner like it's going to be a tag team match or something.
Yeah, he does. Stands there, and at this point, Paul Bearer hits Austin with a shoe, which is so good. It's just, oh, golly, man.
Why?
I love it. I love it. It's just more brutal than I guess.
Of course.
Why is hitting someone with your shoe on your hand more brutal than hitting with a shoe that's on your foot?
Dude, more impact.
It's like the coal miners.
Target it, man.
They never had a loafer on a pole match?
No, they always do that in street fights, though. They'll take off their cowboy boot and hit him over the head with it.
Oh, missed opportunity. Loafer on a pole match.
Well, after that, Mankind hits Austin with a chair. Austin gives a stunner to Mankind, but Kane breaks it up. And then we finally see Undertaker come in the ring. He's not sure who to hit with the chair, but he ends up nailing Kane with it. Then Austin gets the chair and ends up nailing Kane with it and then hitting Undertaker with it. So Austin stands tall to end the show, going into the pay-per-view, while Mankind, Kane, and Undertaker are all left laying in the ring.
Yeah.
Austin just exemplifying his DTA, don't trust anybody attitude, and we're left with a lot of questions going into Fully Loaded.
Yeah, just really good stuff, man. Just, again, weaving all this thread of Undertaker into all these storylines. Like I said, now you've got the tag titles and the world title, or the WWF Championship, all in the main event of this pay-per-view, all centered around Taker and whose side is he on. The story's not whose side is Kane on, whose side is Mankind on, whose side is Austin on. It's whose side is Taker on. He is the crux holding this whole storyline together, which, again, is just so cool to see him be featured so heavily. Again, I think it gets lost. Like you said, it's always Austin and Rock get all the credit for this, but 1998, man, year of Undertaker and Kane as well. So.
It is good storytelling, but my thing is, it's still for a tag match, and I'm into it. I buy it. I mean, I buy the storyline, but I'm not buying this pay-per-view, man. Back in the day, I'm not excited about it. I want to see Austin and Undertaker. I want to see them go at it, and I understand that this is building up towards that, and they're doing a good job of it, but they're probably not getting my money for this show just to see that. I'm probably going to wait to buy SummerSlam, which I did. I did order SummerSlam. I did not order this one.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. Well, I have a comment in just a second. But yeah, there were 2 reasons. There were 2 reasons to buy this pay-per-view, and they were not Austin or Taker. But if you've ever seen this show and you were 12 years old at this time, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a double main event. The match that takes place right before this tag team match, the double main event. So anyway,
you were very hands-on with this show back in the day.
I was not.
Oh, you were?
No, that was not me. Jerry Lawler must have been. But anyway, he gets a sneak peek at the beginning here. But yeah, this brings us to Fully Loaded in Your House, July 26, 98, from the Selland Arena in Fresno, California. And I got to say, this crowd is, I don't know, man. Something's wrong with Fresno this night. I mean, I guess for this main event, I guess based on what they'd seen in the double main event before this with, Sable taking their breath away and making lots of little kids, jaws drop, I guess they were a little bit dead for this main event. There's some certain things they popped for, but yeah, this is a weird night. It's basically a 3-hour episode of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, because there's a lot going on. There's a dungeon match where they roll out the middle school substitute teacher TVs like they did for the Boiler Room Brawl for the people at home to watch it. There's that bikini contest that you just talked about. They're throwing so many things at the wall here, trying to get something over here with this crowd. There's the main event, but there's 2 really long interview segments in the middle of the show building up to this stuff with Undertaker and in the main event. It feels like an episode of Raw. You got a tag team match main event. You've got a lot of interview segments. It doesn't feel like it's worth paying $30 for. And it's a good show, but it's not pay-per-view worthy in my opinion.
No, like I said, there's only 2 reasons to watch if you were a kid. And yeah, I guess that's why everybody had to put their money down. So, because other than that, I've never seen this match. This was you and I doing this episode talking Taker. This was the first time I'd ever seen this match. Have you seen it before?
I'm not sure I had. I've seen stuff from this pay-per-view. I've seen the dungeon match, and I think I've seen the
contest.
I saw that the day after for sure.
Yeah.
I saw Triple H and Rock's 30-minute match. Really good.
That was
kind of
a good
coming out
match.
party for them. But yeah, I don't remember ever renting this show, and I'm not sure I've ever seen this main event. So yeah, again, back to what we said at the beginning of the show, WCW kind of won this month for sure, but not quite
no
the
doubt.
war. Like we said, there's a couple of interview segments in the middle of the show. They don't really amount to much. Basically, the storyline is that Undertaker has not arrived at the show. He doesn't arrive until the main event, so there's questioning what's going to go on with him. Paul Bearer comes out. The Bearer family comes out. Paul Bearer gloats, saying, I knew it. Taker does not want to wrestle his brother Kane. He's afraid. He wants to stay in one piece for SummerSlam. He's a coward. The New Age Outlaws come out and interrupt them and challenge challenge Kane and Mankind to a tag team title rematch on Raw tomorrow night. So we're building up Raw on a pay-per-view. They're using a pay-per-view to sell Monday Night Raw, which is I've never really been a fan of that strategy.
Well, as someone who listens to Russo stuff, I can say he's talked about this particular episode and saying that was just kind of they were in the middle of this war, so they want, and to him the pay-per-views were important, but Raw was even more important because he wanted to see those buy rates, or those ratings be higher and higher. So he said, I would push everything to Monday Night Raw, watch every, but I wanted everything to be on Raw because they would, they broke everything down segment by segment back then to see who won that segment, on both channels. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it either. I like pay-per-views to be just, here's our giant night of matches. The stories will be told in the ring, not like an episode of Monday Night Raw, where I just want the stories told in the ring. But yeah, here, very different feel for other pay-per-views we've covered. And again, different match for us because it's a tag match, So yeah, we got those interview segments and stuff. And later on, I think Vince comes out with the Stooges.
This was a little bit better.
Sure.
Vince McMahon, he goes into this big, long explanation of the WWF's policy when it refers to live events and how it is that the promoter reserves the right if the card is subject to change. So if someone fails to show up, he can replace them. He pulls out the program that Randy Turco, our follower on Twitter, he has shared with us his programs from all these shows, and it looks just like that. I used to get those at the house show with all the card on there. The advertisement, as Vince McMahon spells it out on here, and says, he points out the fine print on there. So he says he has the right to replace The Undertaker if he does not show up. He introduces us to who The Undertaker's suitable replacement will be. The Brooklyn Brawler. Coming out on pay-per-view. And he comes out, he's all hyped up, man.
He's on cloud 9 here, man. He's so excited. Like, he may have thought he was getting into this match. Like, who knows? Like, if not, he's playing it up, dude. He looks like he's so excited to be there. Reminds me of like James Ellsworth nowadays. The guy's just excited to be on TV,
Great
like
point.
A jobber who's just excited to be there. You can tell he doesn't care what he's doing; he's just happy to be on TV. So yeah, Lombardi, true professional, no longer with the company for some godforsaken reason. But yeah, really cool to see him. I had no idea that happened on this pay-per-view. So
well, unfortunately, he will not get his pay-per-view match.
Yeah,
The Undertaker does arrive. He comes out last, of course, for this entrance. Kane and Mankind come out first. Excuse me. He doesn't come out last. Kane and Mankind do come out first. And Undertaker ends up coming out to something different. Comes out to some brand spanking new music. And it's a little bit different. It's not quite the music that is on the WWF Volume 3 CD. It's not quite the music that he uses in the Ministry. He really only used this mix of this music for a few weeks before they kind of changed it up into something different. And I don't know if that's why or if it's just because of his character development the past few weeks, but he does not get the reaction that we have been used to over the past few years.
That's what I was saying, man. This crowd, like, I don't know, man. It's just weird, like, at first with the gong, they kind of pop, but then once this fake music, like there's like brand new music hits, they don't know what it is.
It's very different.
Yeah, but even once he comes out, like he has no cloak on. He's not doing the slow walk. He's just, he's not running to the ring, but he's at a pretty fast pace for Undertaker, and walking with a purpose to the ring, just so intense. But yeah, the crowd does not really pop as loud as you'd think they would. But I was thinking, the commentary mentions that he arrived 20 minutes ago, and I was wondering, like, why didn't they just ask Kevin Kelly to beep him or whatever, like he did back at the cemetery? Page him, whatever.
Yeah, so they apparently have some sort of connection with each other, man.
Yeah. So, but in all seriousness, so Austin comes out next, and I'll say he blows the roof off of Fresno. It wasn't as big a pop as Austin normally get, but here in Fresno that night, he comparably he blows the roof off there. His pop is unmatched. Austin's just on fire on all cylinders here. So
absolutely, and Austin confronts Undertaker, Undertaker comes out and confronts Austin as he's coming out in the middle of the aisleway, and that allows Mankind and Kane to sneak up to attack them. And yeah, like you said, the crowd may not have been super hot all night, and they weren't super hot for Undertaker's entrance, but they get into it at this beginning of the match. The beginning of the match is real hot.
Yeah.
All four guys are fighting with each other in the aisleway and on the way into the ring. So they're into all four of these guys as things get going here. But yeah, Undertaker's only been there for 20 minutes apparently. JR is saying, how could these guys have ever possibly talked about strategy in just 20 minutes for this match? As if Undertaker and Austin were just going to sit around backstage and come up with some double team moves to take on Kane.
But you know what?
Hey, Taker, man, me and Pillman used to do this stuff in Hollywood Blondes. You want to try this out?
Exactly. So, I thought that was great. Or maybe Taker could say, "I want to use the heart punch like I used to use back in USWA or whatever it was." So, anyway. But I thought that was funny. But again, JR, approaches it like it's a shoot. So I thought that was kind of it's hokey, but it's kind of neat here. But at the beginning of this match, they're kind of brawling, and Austin starts with Mankind, and I just wanted to point something out here. Kane goes up the wrong set of steps. He goes up on the face side of the ring. If anyone watches a tag team match, if you haven't ever noticed this, pay attention. The top left corner are the faces. The bottom right corner are the heels. Always, always. That's WWF style. So, Kane, shame on you for not knowing that. He goes to the wrong corner. He has to walk down and walk all the way around the ring to the other side. So, I just thought that was kind of funny. So,
but who is the face and who is the heel here?
Ooh, maybe that's yeah. Well, see, if Undertaker would have done that, it would have been different.
Yeah, you're right.
But Austin's in control. Mankind, they kind of go back and forth. Mankind gets in control, tags in Kane. Kane's getting some heat on Austin, and then Austin just blows back with a Thez press, and that always pops the crowd.
Yeah, really,
really good. So he tries to go for a stunner, and Kane just bails out the ring and just walks up the ramp almost like Kevin Owens does nowadays. Like he's just getting like chicken hill. So
it's like what you do when you're playing the video game and somebody's just destroying you and you just roll out of the ring.
Yeah, someone has 3 finishers stored up already at the beginning of the match. You don't have that. Yeah,
so you start doing your taunts on the outside to build up.
Exactly like that. So. So Austin attacks him in the aisleway, and Mankind comes over, and they just kind of both attacking Austin. And he does the old Three Stooges spot where he grabs both their heads and clanks them together like a couple coconuts. I always love that. Yeah, yep. Exactly. But again, the story being told here is Taker is not helping Austin. He's looking from his corner. He's not coming down to help him out, and that's kind of the story that's being told throughout this match.
And I tell you what. King and JR do a great job of telling that story, too.
Sure.
Lawler says, let me ask you something, JR. If I hit you with a chair at the end of this match when the show's over, would you really be excited about coming out and do commentary with me tomorrow night on Raw? And JR's like, well, no, sir. No, I probably wouldn't be. And King's like, exactly. Why do you think Undertaker's excited to get in there and team with Stone Cold?
Yeah.
And King is really trying to build up all this collusion conspiracy theory stuff throughout the match, and JR is sticking up for Undertaker. He's saying he doesn't believe it. Undertaker's the conscience of the WWF. He would never do something like that, and they're going back and forth with that, building up the story, focusing on that, and really helping get it all over. I really appreciated their work tonight, and going further as we go into this, they continue to do a great job playing both sides of that.
Oh yeah, they definitely do. It goes so unnoticed. Or as 12-year-old me didn't notice that kind of stuff, but now I can look back and appreciate it all. It's just really really paints a good picture of the story that's being told. So at this point, I think Undertaker finally gets a tag in, and he comes in and he works Kane's arm and gives him the old shoulder blocks, and then hits the old Russian leg sweep that he debuted a few months ago on Monday Night Raw. So love that. And then he walks over and gives Austin the middle finger. So Austin actually like smiles and pops at it, looks like it's for real. So
oh yeah.
And I think JR's like, oh, he loved it, or maybe Kane, he loved that. So
the crowd
it was just really neat.
The crowd was super hot.
They did, yeah.
But something interesting happens when that happens is that Kane tags out to Mankind here, and Lawler speculates that Taker took a little break right there, and he let Kane tag out. He didn't want to fight his brother right there. So just all this little subtle stuff going on in here that the announcers are trying to play off of. And the meat of this match, Mankind, just continually, to me, it's painful to watch him in here. He takes some ugly bumps, one from the apron onto a table that doesn't break on the outside of the announce table. Then Undertaker just gives him a huge back body drop onto the concrete. And, I get, these bumps are nothing compared to what he took a month ago, but he just took some really nasty bumps a month ago. He's not healed up from him. He does not look the same. He does not look like the Mick Foley that we've seen for the past couple of years. He's slow. He's limping. He just looks in pain, man. And all these guys are hurt. Undertaker's hurt right now. Austin's still recovering from a staph infection. So, that's probably why we're getting a tag match here. So, these guys don't have to carry the load themselves. But it doesn't add up to a great match watching it back.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. It's not that great a match. But something that is great is, again, the commentary and just how Kane and Mankind work as a tag team. They're a great tag team. They do the little things a tag team should. They cut off the ring. They make quick tags. And, again, commentary keeps putting that over. And at one point here, Mankind tags in, and he's in control. And JR says this quote. He says, "The four most destructive men in the WWF, the history of the WWF, are in this ring right now." So, I don't know. Is he too far off? Is he not too far off? I don't know. The current roster at this point, those probably are the four most destructive men. But history, I don't know. But paints a good picture there. It's really cool. Again, putting your four top guys at this point in the ring together is a big deal. So
yeah, absolutely. Talking about just what we've seen over the past few months, I don't think that's hyperbole for him to say that. Most destructive men. It's a great comment.
Moving on here, Paul Bearer starts taunting Undertaker, saying some nasty things to him, and Ross reminds us that Mankind's got more victories over Taker than anybody. And like you said, they go to the outside. Kane forces Austin to tag Taker like on accident. I don't know if it's an accident or not, but he kind of pushes Austin going to make the hot tag. And he pushes him into Undertaker, which is stupid from a psychology standpoint. Well, I'll join the fresh guy in. But anyway, Mankind throws a chair in the ring, and Austin just clobbers Kane with it right in the head, man, behind the ref's back. Gets a 2 count. It's a big boot from Kane, and Mankind attacks Austin outside now. And Kane drops Austin on the guardrail, and it's just getting vicious outside.
Yeah, I thought that chair shot was the finish, man. It came a little early, but it seemed like a finish. It was a good false finish right there. Like you said, Kane and Mankind are functioning as a much stronger actual tag team here. They're doing lots of quick tags, working in the corner, and they're built. It's hard to have a really bad tag team match if you're working that tag team formula. It gets the crowd into it all the time. Like I said, I don't think all 4 guys are functioning at their best, but you still get into it as Mankind works the chin lock. Austin fights out of it. They do the double knockdown spot, going for the hot tag, in which Kane gets the tag from Mankind, but Undertaker refuses to stick his hand out for Austin's tag. And Jerry Lawler's screaming, collusion, collusion out there. They do the spot where Austin's being double teamed and Undertaker comes in to stop it, but the referee gets distracted with Undertaker, so Austin gets double teamed some more, which again, building into all this conspiracy. Maybe he's doing this on purpose to let Austin get beat up some more. Who knows what's actually going on here. But things really get going as Kane gets a chokeslam on Austin. He goes for a tombstone, but Austin fights out of it and gets a stunner. But before he can pin Kane, Mankind runs in, breaks it up, gets the mandible claw on Kane, but Austin turns that into the stunner. So everyone is down in the ring except for Undertaker, who's just watching all this go down in the corner. He has not run in to save Austin at all. He's just been sitting there watching this all go down. So, yeah.
Yeah, JR says Taker is unwavering, which I thought was a good move. Like he's not changing his his facials or anything. He's just kind of looking on, like, just from afar. He's very stoic. And at this point, yeah, like I said, everybody is down in the ring. Kane sits up, and he prevents the tag here to Undertaker. Undertaker doesn't reach out again here at this point, and then the crowd's kind of like booing. And then finally, he reaches his hand out, gets that tag from Austin, comes in like a house of fire, lighting up both heels. Just perfect babyface comeback here. Does a mule kick, low blow to Mankind, like taking a page out of Ric Flair's book, man. Behind the ref's back, mule kicks him low, choke slams Kane and Mankind separately, but the choke slams them both. Then hits a tombstone on Kane, and as he hits that tombstone, Austin comes in, clotheslines Mankind, and Taker pins Kane with his classic, pin in 18 minutes and 8 seconds, and they become the WWF Tag Team Champions for the first time in Taker's career.
Yeah, this is the first time we've seen him win any belt besides the WWF Championship. He will go on to win a couple other tag team titles, but this is the first one here. JR is screaming. He's going crazy. He's saying, there ain't no conspiracy. There ain't no conspiracy. Yeah. Just excited calling this. And something interesting happened, though. JR may be sure that there's no conspiracy, but something to point out here that's going to play a part in this in the weeks to come is that Undertaker hits just one tombstone to pin Kane. And as we remember from WrestleMania, how many tombstones did it take to pin Kane there that night?
1, 2, 3.
Took 3 and just barely was able to pin him there. And here he just gets 1. So we'll talk about that next week on next week's episode, but it's an interesting point. And something else interesting is that Undertaker walks away with both of the tag team titles.
He's the tag team champions. Yes, that's where Kane gets it from later. But yeah, it is interesting. He takes them both and walks away, and Austin's kind of jaw-jacking at him. You don't know what he's saying, but he's basically saying, bring my title, yeah, that's the match, man. It's nothing special. Feels like a Raw house show or an episode of Raw or something, but it's fun. I mean, it's fun in history to go back and watch it. The build-up was more fun than the match was. So yeah,
it's okay. It's not bad by any means.
No.
Again, I think all 4 guys, or at least 3 of these 4 guys, are the walking wounded. They've been running hard, so their bodies are a little bit broken down. They do what they can. I wouldn't feel like I got my money's worth, probably, if I ordered this on pay-per-view back then. It's fine going back and watching it now. It's not something you need to go back and watch. It's not one of the best matches we've covered here, but it's not one of the worst either. It's just
right.
Kind of there. But it does play a huge role into what's coming next.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I can't wait to get to that kind of stuff because this I'm excited to talk about the next match we have coming up. So
yeah,
a lot of cool stuff to talk about.
We're going to take a turn onto the highway to hell as we cover SummerSlam 1998. Undertaker main eventing for the WWF Championship against Stone Cold Steve Austin. One of the most memorable matches of the Attitude Era. One of the most memorable build-ups that we're going to talk about as well. So we hope you'll join us on next week's Talking Taker. You can subscribe on all the great podcasting services out there, whichever one you listen to. Subscribe. If you don't mind, give us a review. Rate us 5 stars. Let us know what you think. Spread the word to anybody out there. Follow us on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Talking Taker. You can follow me at Alex Dorio as well. You cannot follow Twitterless Travis, but...
Don't follow me anywhere.
Please. He will call the police.
Follow me. Everything is all right.
Okay.
I'll be the one. What's that song? Who's sang that? Uncle Cracker. Sorry. Yeah.
Former WWF theme song superstar.
He was. Yeah, we'll go X-Pac.
And let us know your memories of Fully Loaded 98, being all hands on deck for the Sable bikini contest. All hands on deck. Again, let me reiterate that.
Move on.
Go ahead. Take us home.
Oh, man. I got nothing else to say. If you were there, if you were in Fresno, first of all, what's up with that? Because what happened to the crowd that night? They passed out Quaaludes beforehand. I don't know what happened. But anyway, if you were there, let us know, please. It's been a fun ride. Let us know what happened. How you guys felt about this match. And other than that, ladies and gentlemen, take her easy.
We've been joined here at ringside with our special guest, Jason Sensation King. Right, and I understand that the nation is upset, but they just need to lighten up because that had to be some of the funniest stuff that I've ever seen. Jason, thank you very much. One more time, can you give me a little more Owen Hart? Enough is enough, and it's time for a change. Woo! All right, great. Listen, you can do other people, right? Yeah, I can do anybody. Can you do Owen's brother, Bret the Hitman Hart? Well, you know what? I am the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Who in the hell is that? Some mid-carder? That's good, but do Owen again, one more time. That's right. I am an aardvark. Woo! Listen, can you do the Undertaker? Kane, I will bury you. Rest in peace.